Let me ask you something today. Have you ever noticed that the smartest person in the room often says the least? They're not trying to impress anyone. They're not fighting to be heard. And yet somehow, everyone pays attention when they speak. It's not because they have nothing to say. It's because they've learned a powerful truth. Silence protects power. There's a quiet strength in knowing what to keep to yourself. In a world where everyone's broadcasting their every move, intelligent people are doing the opposite. They move in silence, speak with intention, and understand that not everything needs to be shared. Think about it. How many people have you seen sabotage their dreams by talking too much too soon? Maybe you've even done it yourself, shared your goals with someone, only to be met with doubt, envy, or subtle sabotage. Or maybe you opened up about something personal and found it used against you. Oversharing doesn't make you open. It makes you vulnerable in the wrong way. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the mindset of highly intelligent individuals and reveal the 3 things they never share with anyone. Because if you want to protect your success, your peace, and your power, sometimes the best thing you can do is stay silent. Let's dive in. Number 1, never share your long-term goals too soon. When Marcus got his first taste of inspiration, he was on fire. He had an idea for a business that he truly believed could change his life. A fitness brand that would blend personal training, lifestyle coaching, and online content into one powerhouse platform. He was excited, motivated, and eager to prove himself. So naturally, he shared it. He told his friends, his coworkers, his family, anyone who would listen. But instead of support, he was met with eye rolls, sarcasm, and polite but skeptical smiles. That sounds risky. You really think people are going to pay you for that? Maybe stick to your day job for now. One by one, their doubts chipped away at his excitement. Within a few weeks, that burning fire had become a flicker. And just like that, the dream that once felt unstoppable died quietly, buried under the weight of other people's opinions. This is the silent danger of sharing your long-term goals too early. Psychologically, when you speak your ambitions out loud, especially to a group that doesn't share your vision or drive, your brain gets a hit of dopamine, a premature reward. You feel like you've already accomplished something just by saying it. But that emotional high tricks your brain into thinking progress has been made when in reality nothing has changed. Research by Derek Sivers and other behavioral psychologists has shown that announcing your goals publicly often reduces your likelihood of achieving them. Why? Because you've already received validation. And once the applause or judgment is out there, you lose the internal motivation to push forward when it gets hard. Intelligent people understand this. They don't stay silent because they're afraid. They stay silent because they're focused. They've learned that when you talk too much about what you're going to do, you open the door to other people's fears, doubts, and expectations. And once those outside voices get into your head, they can drown out your own. Not everyone is rooting for you. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. Some people will smile in your face and secretly hope you fail, just so they can feel better about staying stuck. That's why truly smart individuals choose to move in silence. They protect their dreams like seeds, keeping them buried and nourished in private until they're strong enough to grow in public. And it's not just about other people. When you keep your goals private, you create internal accountability. There's no pressure to impress anyone or live up to what you said. There's only you, your mission, and the work in front of you. That kind of solitude is powerful. It builds resilience. It forces you to get real about your discipline and your desire. You stop chasing applause and start chasing results. You learn to trust the process instead of performing for approval. Think of the most successful people in the world. You rarely hear about their next move. You only hear about it when it's done. That's not coincidence. That's strategy. They understand that timing is everything and that success isn't just about having a vision. It's about protecting it. So if you have a dream, guard it, nurture it, let it grow in silence. The world doesn't need another person making loud promises and delivering nothing. It needs more people who are quietly building something real. Don't give away your power in exchange for attention. Don't trade your progress for praise. Let your actions make the noise, not your announcements. Number 2, never share your financial situation. When Lena landed a 6-figure remote job after years of struggling, she felt like she'd finally made it. Naturally, she was proud. She wanted to celebrate. And in a moment of excitement, she mentioned her new salary to a few close friends. Word spread quickly. Soon, she was getting calls and messages from people she hadn't heard from in years. Relatives suddenly in financial crises, old classmates with investment opportunities, and friends who began expecting her to pick up every tab. One friend even made a joke in front of a group. "Come on, Lena's rich now, she's got it." The laughter stung. In trying to share her success, Lena had unknowingly painted a target on her back. She didn't feel wealthier. She felt used. Her relationship shifted. Conversations started revolving around money. Her generosity was assumed, not appreciated. She had opened the door too wide, and now she couldn't close it without looking cold. This is the trap of sharing your financial situation openly. Whether you're earning more, earning less, or buried in debt, talking about your finances too freely rarely brings peace. In fact, it often invites judgment, comparison, and manipulation. Intelligent people know this. They understand that privacy around money isn't about being secretive, it's about being secure. Your income, savings, and financial goals are part of your personal strategy, not public information. Because the moment others know what you have, they start to project their expectations, assumptions, and even entitlements onto you, and those expectations can be a heavy burden to carry. When you reveal that you're struggling financially, even to people you trust, you risk becoming a subject of quiet gossip or pity. You may be met with sympathy, but also with unsolicited advice, subtle condescension, or worse, someone trying to take advantage of your desperation. On the other hand, if you share that you're doing well, you might face jealousy, passive-aggressive remarks, or be treated as someone whose money should be shared. Either way, you're handing over a level of power that should remain yours. Money stirs emotions in people: envy, pride, shame, entitlement, and those emotions can poison relationships if not handled with care. Wealthy individuals, those who sustain and grow their wealth, tend to handle money with quiet precision. They don't talk about what they earn or what they own. They don't post screenshots of bank balances or brag about bonuses. They know that true financial strength doesn't need applause. More importantly, they know that privacy is leverage. The less people know about what you have, the harder it is for them to manipulate, guilt, or use you. Privacy gives you room to move freely. It gives you control over your narrative. It lets you give from a place of choice, not obligation. When people assume you have just enough, they rarely pressure you. When they know you have more, the pressure can become constant and exhausting. And it's not just about avoiding problems, it's about protecting your peace. Money is deeply personal. How you earn, spend, and save reflects your values, your priorities, and your boundaries. Sharing those details casually opens you up to criticism you don't need and conversations that don't serve you. Intelligent people set a boundary, not because they're selfish, but because they're sovereign. They know that being in control of their finances also means being in control of who gets access to that part of their life. Lena eventually learned to say less. She started declining conversations about her salary, stopped justifying her spending choices, and began investing quietly. Her generosity never stopped, but it became intentional and anonymous. And with that shift, she felt lighter. She was no longer carrying the weight of other people's expectations. She had reclaimed her financial privacy, and with it, her freedom. In a world obsessed with broadcasting success, there's a quiet power in keeping your money matters to yourself. You don't owe anyone your financial story. You don't need to defend your earnings or explain your debt. You don't need to apologize for what you have or don't have. Your money should work quietly. The only thing that should shine is your growth, not your bank account. Number 3, never share your private struggles with the wrong people. When Armin went through a brutal breakup, he was shattered. The relationship had been intense, and its collapse left him reeling. In a vulnerable moment, he opened up to someone he considered a close friend, a guy from work who always seemed understanding. He shared everything: the nights he couldn't sleep, the regrets he carried, the doubts that haunted him. At first, the friend listened, nodded, even offered some advice. But a week later, Armin heard his own words twisted and replayed at a party, reduced to gossip. The pain of the breakup was heavy enough, but the betrayal, the knowledge that his vulnerability had become entertainment, cut deeper. That's when he learned a hard truth. Not everyone who listens cares, and not everyone who cares deserves access. It's human to want to be heard, to be comforted in our darkest moments. But intelligent people understand that sharing your private struggles is not something to be done lightly. Emotional intelligence is knowing not just how to express yourself, but when, where, and with whom. Because when you hand over your pain to someone who hasn't earned your trust, you risk giving them power over your narrative. They may misuse it, misunderstand it, or mock it. And once it's out there, you can't take it back. The truth is, everyone has struggles. But the strongest people don't walk around broadcasting their wounds. They carry themselves with a quiet dignity, not because they're cold or closed off, but because they know the value of emotional self-respect. They understand that healing happens in safe, sacred spaces, not in public arenas. They choose privacy, not out of shame, but out of wisdom. Pain is sacred, and when you share it carelessly, you turn something deeply personal into something easily dismissed. Instead of spilling pain into the wrong ears, intelligent people turn inward first. They journal their emotions, giving shape to their thoughts without judgment. They invest in therapy, choosing professional guidance over empty validation. They talk to the few who've proven themselves over time, people who offer safety, not just sympathy. They don't perform their struggles for attention, they process them for growth. That's emotional maturity. That's inner strength. Carrying pain privately doesn't mean bottling it up. It means choosing your support system with intention. Because not every listener is a healer. Some people feed off weakness, some offer pity when what you need is perspective, and some, without meaning to, will say the wrong thing at the worst time, deepening the wound instead of helping it close. That's why intelligent people become gatekeepers of their own healing. They decide what part of their story is shared, and what part is still unfolding behind closed doors. There's immense power in quiet resilience, in being able to walk into a room smiling while carrying battles no one knows about. Not because you're faking it, but because you're mastering it. Because you've realized that your pain doesn't define you, it shapes you. And that shaping happens best in silence, in reflection, and in safe, intentional connection. The world doesn't need to know every scar you carry, and you don't need to justify your healing timeline to anyone. Armin eventually stopped sharing his wounds with just anyone. He found a therapist, kept a journal, and leaned on one trusted friend who never judged, never gossiped, just listened. Over time, he didn't just get over the breakup, he grew through it. And he came out the other side not weaker, but wiser. Pain becomes power when you learn how to process it privately. When you stop handing it to people who can't handle it and start honoring it as part of your growth. The strongest people aren't the ones who shout their struggles. They're the ones who rise quietly again and again in the end. Being intelligent isn't about proving how much you know or how loud you can be. It's about knowing what not to show and when to stay silent. In a time when oversharing has become a cultural norm, real wisdom lies in restraint. Your long-term goals, your financial life, your private struggles, these are not for everyone. When shared too soon, too freely, or with the wrong people, they lose their power. Your goals can be ridiculed before they're ready. Your money can invite pressure instead of peace. Your pain can be misused, mocked, or misunderstood. Intelligent people don't stay silent because they're hiding. They stay silent because they're protecting something sacred, their vision, their peace, and their growth. So pause and ask yourself, what am I sharing that I should be keeping sacred right now? Not everything needs a spotlight. Some things need solitude. In a world obsessed with exposure, protect your mystery, because silence, when used wisely, is not weakness, it's strategy, it's clarity, it's strength. Let your actions speak, let your results shine, and let your silence build the future no one sees coming.